Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are taking a look at some really cool information that got leaked, not necessarily leaked, but I guess revealed by Konami, official announcement for Power of the Elements. We actually got a new TCG exclusive archetype announced, no name, no anything, just one little tidbit of information. So today we're going to analyze that and look at what I think it could be because, you know, I just think it's fun to do these kind of analysis videos. So we're going to be breaking down like pretty much that little bit of information, then going from there and seeing, you know, how we can break down everything and see what we can put our best guess forward on what this new monster based, weird monster based, archetype is going to end up being. So without further ado, let's get into here. So on the new official Power of the Elements TCG reveal, this is the TCG specific reveal. They announced one new thing. Everything else we pretty much already knew, but that we're going to get a brand new world premiere theme focusing on an unexpected type of monster. Now, this is really vague. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not pretend that we can just straight up guess this based off of this, but we can make some educated guesses and at least eliminate some things and at least put ourselves in the right frame of mind as what we could end up seeing here. So yeah, let's get into this. So when we get in here, I broke everything down into 4 main categories. So the first one is no shot. None of these Yu-Gi-Oh types, monster types, as far as the standard types, have any shot because these are just like the most popular types in the game. The second one is low shot. They're not the most popular types in the game, so they're technically not super expected, but they've either gotten like recent support or they have some other reason why they probably won't end up in there. And the third one, I guess I should say, is A shot. Super uncommon types, haven't had a lot of support in multiple years, and but like still don't have like an amazing shot in my opinion. And then the final one is like the oddballs, a couple of odd ways to think about things that aren't even straight up Yu-Gi-Oh types as far as monsters go that we'll look at in the last category. So here we go. Starting off with the no shots, there's no surprise here. Warrior, Spellcaster, I put Warrior twice, my bad. Fiend, Dragon, Cybers, Fairy, Machine. I'm pretty sure these are like probably the 7 most common types in Yu-Gi-Oh! If Cybers doesn't count, it's because it only came out like, 5 or 6 years ago. So for the amount of time it's been out, it's been one of the most supported types in that time frame. So I'm still going to count it here. Moving on here to the low shots, just skimming through these. Aqua, Sea Serpent, and Fish, they kind of all mesh into the same thing. There are multiple archetypes that have just all 3 of these. I'm looking at Mermails, I'm looking at Atlantean type stuff, with Atlantean ends up being more Sea Serpent. But they do mesh together to form archetypes. So I don't think this one's that... it has a great chance. And also, this set is going to come out like pretty close for the TCG, like not that long after the Water Legendary Duelist. So we're going to get like a bunch of water support, and then they're going to make the new TCG exclusive also water. Not impossible, but not as likely in my opinion. Beast, Warrior, and Wing Beast, these just are Tri-Brigade like fodder. I think Konami's really Konami made a multiple different like Tri-Beast types and support during the Tri-Brigade era, and Tri-Brigade's still a decent deck, but it's not tier 1 anymore, and it was for like a whole year. I just don't think it's likely they push these out for a little bit. I think they'll ease off the Tri-Beast like type for a little bit. Give Tri-Brigade a break from the meta. Then from here, Dinosaur, we just got Dinomorphia. Insect, we got Bee Trooper, which is a TCG exclusive, and it is like an unexpected type. Like prior to that, we hadn't gotten insect support in a while. Plants, we got Sun Avalon last year. I know it's not crazy, but we've also got a handful of just like one-off support cards. Stay Sailor, Ramarine, the Soldier Palm, Fogly. I think that's the name of the card. Whatever, it's the name of something like that. And stuff like the Sylvan Link. Jesus. And we've also got the Sun Avalon card like a couple sets back. So the spell that's really powerful. So plants somewhat recently have been supported, and it's also not the least supported type. That's actually one of the semi more supported types is plants. Worms, Sword Soul. Zombies, we're getting the synchro stuff in this next set. We're getting at some point in the OCG they announced they revealed the zombie fusion cards. It's a weird little like archetype for zombie fusion stuff. So like, I don't know, recent zombie stuff. Reptiles got a ton of stuff this year, and Psychics also got a ton of stuff this year. Punk, Virtual World, not this year, but at the end of 2020 at least. So, somewhat recently, and a couple of other archetypes as well. So I don't think any of these are particularly likely, but you could argue these are not super supported types, they could potentially be it. Which takes us to the normal Yu-Gi-Oh types that have a shot here. I think these do have a shot, just in the fact that Konami could say, we haven't given you Pyro, Thunder, or like a ton of rock support in a minute. We really haven't seen rock support, at least a rock deck, since 2020, an Adamantipator. It's just outside of the range. Plus, we all know rocks are like a super undeveloped type. The one thing I will say about this is that I'm not half expecting, but I do think there is a good shot that a rock archetype ends up being the third Legendary Duelist Earth set type or monster, whatever deck you want to call it. If it's Magnet Warriors, right? Like that's kind of like a decent bit wave of rock support. So I don't know if they'll roll with that, but yeah. Thunder. One thing that's interesting with Thunders is in the OCG's tournament pack, they reprinted the recycling batteries, the spell card that adds like 2 Thunders from grave back to hand, kind of hinting at future Thunder support. The problem here is we're talking about a TCG exclusive Thunder archetype, so the OCG won't get this for months and months and months after we get this archetype. So I don't think that's alluding to that. I think it's actually more likely that just in the set of Power of the Elements, there's like, in the regular core part of that set, there's like maybe Battery Man support or a new Thunder archetype. And the last one here is Pyro. It's no secret, Pyro's like the least supported type in like all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially as far as like having like respectable archetypes. The only one with this one I would say is that down the line, I do expect the next Legendary Duelist after the Earth one we're getting reveals for currently. I'm expecting that to be fire-based, and if it is, I think there's a really good chance Volcanics end up in there. And so there's probably, even if it's not Volcanics, there might be some other Pyro, archetype in there. Again, making for like just more Pyro support, making it a little less likely and less, interesting this archetype would be, because keep in mind, we're talking about an archetype that Konami is calling unexpected type of monster based. So we have to look at it from that point of view. So these are the only 3 that I really think have like an okay shot. The other ones I think are really low, but we're going to get to the oddballs. And I think the oddballs, funny enough, end up being a little more likely than the ones we've already looked at here. So here we go. Oddballs. Oh, I got to move my head again. Okay. For the oddballs, the first one here is Divine Beast. I know this is technically already a type of monster, but it's like reserved exclusively for Egyptian gods. Now, I still think this isn't that likely. I think it'd be cool, and it's absolutely unexpected. I mean, unless Konami was going to come out and make like legit waves of support for Egyptian god cards and like make a bunch of monsters and they actually count as like Divine Beast cards, like, then that's one thing. But I don't think they'll make a whole new separate archetype that counts as Divine Beast. I think it messes with like the overall lore and the impact of the Egyptian gods as like collectibles and like just being hailed as like these great cards and having the anime lore. If you make other archetypes that are also Divine Beast, it kind of takes away from what makes them a little bit more special, having their own type all to themselves. So I don't think that one's as likely, but I think it would be unexpected and cool. The next one here is tokens. Tokens are pretty interesting. I will say, though, we have had multiple token-based archetypes come out fairly recently, whether it's the adventure archetype or something like Sword Soul. But the one thing I will say is, what if they went and they made an archetype that literally does not play any main deck monsters, any extra deck monsters, and it just uses tokens? It makes me think of something a little more closer to maybe Phantasm Spiral instead of, Sword Soul and Adventure. Where they are based around tokens, but Phantasm Spiral literally kind of just uses tokens and vanillas. So what if they came out with a archetype that actually was competent but did nothing but use tokens? That could be pretty interesting. I'm not sure, if they'll do that, just because we have had multiple token archetypes very recently, literally, 2 meta relevant archetypes that have come out in the last 6 months. So yeah. So tokens, I do think it is, though, an unexpected type of monster. You don't expect that for an archetype. The next option would be a brand new archetype, or type, I should say. Listen, we got Cyburst for the Link era. Pendulum is technically a type of monster. Maybe they won't start a new type of monster like Pendulum, just something completely new. But maybe if there was a new type, I could maybe see a TCG exclusive archetype getting it. I don't know what they would do. But I would say that the one thing that kind of deters me from this one is kind of just the fact that like when Cybers came out, it made sense. The Link era, Cybers, it's all digital, makes sense, right? It just felt right. When the Pendulum era came around, obviously Pendulums made more sense, right? We're just kind of in an era where we're just kind of like a little more free. It's a little more free form, Master Rule 5. There's nothing too specific about this format. It's just kind of like everything can kind of work in this format. And there's nothing super new, so I don't know if there's a type that makes perfect sense. Not that Konami needs one, but I think marketing-wise, it makes it easier if you have Link Vrains of the show coming out, and we're in the Link era, and Master Rule 4, and then you make the Cybers type, and it all meshes together, it all markets each other, and I think it makes more sense that way. So I don't know if they would do that without anything specific, pushing them into a new type here. And the last thing I would say here is Spell and Trap Monster. I actually think this one is the most likely out of all of them. I think the only thing you could say about Trap Monster stuff is like, in 2020, we got Eldritch, which is like 2 years ago. That's not that recent. And aside from Eldritch, it's literally like, what are they called? The Paleozoics. It's like Eldritch and Paleozoics. Other than that, we don't have any Trap Monster decks, like archetypes. We've had cards, but they're not archetypes, ever before. So I think that's still pretty unexpected. And we've never really seen Konami play with the idea of like spell monsters. So they can make an archetype that's like either just spell monsters or spell and trap monsters, and they like summon themselves as monsters and then do something else. But because they're not technically monsters by card, it like kind of plays around certain things. You never know. They could definitely get creative with that and really, really push the boundaries of like what we've come to expect from card design, like really blending between monster and spell and trap. I don't know. I think this one actually, funny enough, seems like if I were to put a guess down and put money on it, I would almost guess spell/trap monster first. All these other ones really seem to have something in the way. A lot of recent token archetypes. Brand new type doesn't really fit right now for the modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Divine Beast is special to, is kind of just special to the Egyptian gods. And everything else over here is like they're just types. Like even the ones that I thought were the most likely still had a point that made them feel a little less likely to me. So I honestly, if I had to pick, I'm going to pick Spell Trap Monster. That's my best guess for what this new archetype is going to be based around. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I do want to hear from you guys. Please, if you made it this far into the video, please leave me any potential creative, fun ideas that you think could end up being in here. You know, if there's anything like these, the Divine Beast, the token, brand new type, Spell Trap Monster, stuff like that you think could be a potential unexpected type of monster kind of form, and just kind of go at it from there. I think that could be really, really cool. If you guys have some cool ideas, definitely down to have a conversation, and you know, hopefully we get something interesting. I'm really hoping. Libromancer, I'm not too hopeful on Libromancer. I think the first wave kind of sets them up to be an underwhelming archetype, but we'll see. Other than that, hopefully this new archetype for the TCG exclusives will be the first one in a while. I guess B-Trooper was pretty decent, but pretty much since B-Trooper, like the first TCG exclusive that's been solid. So we'll see. But I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me down the line. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.